brought to you by Kellogg's. Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, currently starring in Old Acquaintance at Mineola, Long Island, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now, a very charming gentleman who for 5 years has been asking on his own show, who do you trust? Well, it is the fellow that we trust the most when it comes to game playing, Mr. Johnny Carson.
Thank you, Arlene. On my left, the syndicated columnist of the New York Journal-American and former arithmetic teacher of Billy Solestis, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, Johnny. I wish I were. I was never that good. We're just loaded with attractive fellows tonight, and the one on my left happens to be the publisher of all those wonderful Random House books, Bennett, Cerf.
I have a hunch that our panel moderator is going to be a little less devious than usual tonight, a little gentler, because he's just come back from his fountain of youth, the Tilton School in New Hampshire, where I believe he was staying at the Tilton Hilton. Mr. John Charles Daly.
Well, I must congratulate Bennett. His choice of words was certainly excellent, because Tilton is a kind of fountain of youth for me. I spent 7 years there as a boy. I hasten to say getting through the last grades and also the upper school. Not 7 years, just getting through the 4 years of high school. Johnny Carson, it's nice to have you with us. And
Thank you, John. It's always fun to be here.
Have an interesting half hour arranged for you and for Arlene and Dorothy and Bennett. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger after this.
Watch.
To meet our first contestants. Will you enter and sign in, please?
Jim Hickman. Bob Golden. Is that right? If I may, Jim and Bob, use your first names. Jim, where are you from?
From Dallas.
Bob, where are you from?
Cresco, New Jersey.
Ah, nice to have you with us. May I present our panel, gentlemen? Now, would you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score on What's My Line?
Yes.
Fine. In that event, let's let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your lines are. All right, panel. We can tell you that Messrs. Hickman and Goldner are salaried and deal in a service. And let's begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Do you gentlemen have anything to do with the sports world whatsoever?
No.
No?
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Carson.
Would I be likely to avail of myself of your services?
Yes.
You sound like I need it.
Let me say this, that under a given and specific set of circumstances, which in your case I think might not necessarily occur, you might be...
That's what I had in mind when I asked it, John. You gentlemen work indoors?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you gentlemen, by any chance, work for some branch of the armed forces?
Yes. Yes.
Then you are here together because you do something in conjunction with each other, or you both do the same thing, is that right?
Yes.
Are you part of the recovery team?
Yes.
Parachute.
Oh, are you medic, care, or medic?
No, that's 3 down and 7 to go.
Are you any connection with the parachute troops?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, do you work out of Canaveral?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Carson.
Let's see now. You have something to do with the space program. You do not work at Cape Canaveral. You're not in the paramedics. Are you in the Air Force?
No. 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you in any way connected with a ship?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
In other words, we have eliminated the Air Force and the Navy. But
No.
No. 8 down and 2 to go. That's all, Bennett.
ask the
That's
question.
all, Bennett. That's all. 8 down and 2 to go, Miss Francis.
With the what?
Would you
Yes.
like to have a conference?
I would like to have a conference.
15 seconds for a conference.
What about the plane?
You got Mickey Mouse out of that. They may not have anything to do with the ship, but they are in the Navy.
Find out if they work on Earth.
with the recovery of Commander Carpenter.
Yes, did you, was part of your operation, was part of your job involved in the operation of recovering Commander Carpenter?
Yes.
Were you part of the team that flew in the helicopters?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Mr. Carson.
Are you the ones who said he missed?
They pick him off the raft. They have anything to do with picking him off.
10 down and no more to go. You've guessed every possible thing except the one thing. There's a P-2V Neptune,
course, the
which
first
picked up the
one.
Sarah signal and orbited over Commander Carpenter and led all of the other rescue units to come and find him and take him out of the water. Lieutenant Hickman and Goldner, United States Navy. I would like to say, so that it clears up the point of Cape Canaveral, that Lieutenants Hickman and Goldner are attached to the Naval Air Station at Jacksonville, right? Yes. Florida, and our patrol squadron 18, which, when not cooperating in the space program, is on anti-submarine patrol duty. Is that correct? Yes. Now, these 2 men are command, a crew, and they feel that every one of their team, as somebody on the panel so aptly put it, deserves a part of the credit due so much to all of them for finding Commander Carpenter, and the rest of their crew is here. We're going to do something we rarely do. I would ask their crew who are in the audience to please stand so that they can be recognized by our audience here in the theater. Will the crew of the P-2V Neptune please stand? Well, it goes without saying that you 2 officers and your fine crew brought a tremendous flood of relief to the whole of the United States the other day, and we shall, I think, all of us always be in your debt for it. And it's just another splendid example of the fine caliber of men who are in the United States Navy, said the oldest United States Navy Reserve Lieutenant Junior grade, in grade, retired. Well, it's fine of you gentlemen to have come up to see us. Again, congratulations to you and your crew, and thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
That was very good, panel. We stuck them with that one. Isn't that delightful? Let's have another contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Betty. Bruce.
Mrs. or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Mrs. Bruce, where are you from?
Owens Mills, Maryland.
Owens Mills,
Owens Mills.
Maryland. May I present our panel, Mrs. Bruce? Now, would you join me over here, please?
Do you know how we keep score on What's My Line?
Yes.
Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. panel. Mrs. Bruce is self-employed and deals in a service. And let's begin the general questioning with Johnny Carson.
A service?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what it is, I want it. Miss Bruce, do you deal with men and women?
Yes, I do.
Would your service be some type of instruction?
No.
Let me have just, if I may, a small moment for a comment.
Very good.
John's getting...
We want to be fair, Johnny. I would say that inherent in the delivery of the service is some degree of counseling, instruction, advice.
That's what I meant when I asked it, John.
Yes. I'm sure you did.
Do you wear what you might normally wear during the day when you give this counseling?
Yes.
There's no special uniform.
No.
That was a point of information. Repetition of question in reverse, getting the double negative around the trilogy on the Francis staff. Is that not correct?
He's sick. He's sick. Do you work? Do you have an office, Mrs. Bruce?
Yeah, this is so difficult.
I love everyone.
This
You're
time-
speaking here of whether Mrs. Bruce maintains a reasonable amount of activity within the confines of what would normally be described as an office and everyday activity.
I don't remember saying that, John. But yes,
That's what you had in mind. Thanks very much. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mrs. Bruce, would you say that your work was more mental than physical?
I had no idea it would be this difficult.
It isn't difficult. Just say no. That's easy.
it's
Nope. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Bruce, do you come into direct contact with the people for whom you're performing a service?
Yes.
You touch them.
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
How could you come in direct contact without touching them?
Well, the phrase direct contact here, I was taken in the context which I'm sure you meant, that Mrs. Bruce meets personally and has direct contact, i.e. verbal contact.
I meant putting her hands somewhere or other on the person
Well,
of the
might
person.
I ask you then why you felt it necessary to ask the second question, do you touch them, if this was the context of your question?
Just in playing this game with you so often, I've found that the more verification we can get from some of your evasive answers, the safer we are, John.
Well, I just want to verify a recent evasive answer. The answer is still no. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, Mrs. Bruce, you have an absolutely glorious tan. Is it possible that you work out of doors?
Yes.
Do you work near where there is water?
At times.
But you wear ordinary clothing.
Yes.
Is that correct? Are
That is to say clothing, Arlene, which would not be considered untoward if you were to wear it as street clothes.
Yes.
No uniform.
No uniform.
No uniform of any kind. That includes bathing suits and so forth. We think of those as uniforms in my set. Mrs. Bruce, is there something athletic about what you do?
No.
No, I would say active, but we wouldn't describe it certainly as athletic. Mr. Carson, that's 4 down and 6 to go.
Miss Bruce, is there any paraphernalia or objects or tangible things that you use in this counseling or whatever it is you do?
If they want to.
Yes and no. It would depend pretty much upon the wish at a particular moment in time.
Do you perform the service on land?
Yes.
Is there any time that you might leave the ground?
Yes.
Good, good.
Next question. Do you ever come up north?
Now, what you're merely suggesting here, is it necessary or is it reasonable that at some point in the delivery of this service, Mrs. Bruce might leave the ground, but not in anything except a normal departure from ground to some other element, right?
That's about it, yeah. Do the other people leave the ground, Mrs. Bruce?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
Oh, Why do they leave the... do you instruct in some physical art that takes physical coordination?
No.
No. 5 down and 5 to go. I'm going to give you 1 more minute because I don't think you've gotten on any of the main
Mrs.
roads.
Bruce, you have said that your work is more physical than mental.
No,
and
the
yet-
question was asked, was it more mental than physical? And
Well, she
since
indicated that it was not more mental.
Right, which just, well, the thing, to clarify this, Dorothy, we were only holding there that neither one nor the other necessarily predominate. In other words, it's a coordination of both that makes the service a
I
useful
see.
one.
But there is some physical movement necessary,
Yes.
which is not in any way athletics.
Yes.
May I assume it is also not show business?
It's not, no.
Does it have anything to do with any form of transportation?
Yes.
But you're self-employed.
Yes.
Do you have to have a special course to do what you do?
Yes.
Do you drive or fly anything?
Both. Can I answer both?
Just say yes.
Both.
Both. You operate a private airline?
No.
No, but that's 6 down and 4 to go. Bennett, you want to take a shot at it?
Yes, do you have anything to do with people who might be leaving these vehicles, either flying, or do you teach them how to get out of these vehicles, possibly, such
No.
as jumping out or parachuting out or anything?
No.
Parachute's
7.
on the brain.
Does it have anything to do with racing cars? No?
No, that's 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Carson.
Well, Dorothy and I kind of get together on that. Francis, Arlene and I got together on that one. I don't know. Nothing with cars? Do you test something?
No.
No. 9 down and 1 to go, Dorothy.
You do ride in a vehicle.
Yes.
Is it a vehicle that is larger than the average car?
Yes.
Is it a bus?
No.
Do they have trolley cars down there?
No.
You have nothing
You-
to do with the selling of tickets or transportation.
No.
Are you a guide, or do you tell...
Bennett, a guide is right, but the time is gone because this went over on Dorothy's question. Actually, a very particular kind of guide, I might add. Mrs. Bruce is an African safari guide and conducts... Bennett got it at the very last minute, but the game had been won by Mrs. Bruce because on Dorothy's question, we went to 10 down and no more to go.
Safari's a goodie.
Safari's a goodie. Oh, dear me. Heavenly days. Interesting thing, I think, to all of you, that Mrs. Bruce's safaris are not hunting safaris. They're sightseeing and picture-taking safaris, where they take, Mrs. Bruce and her husband take groups out of the United States to Kenya and Tanganyika, and then take them into the jungle so they can take pictures of the indigenous population animal in its entirety, I reckon, or near, in their natural habitat.
Mrs. Bruce, is there always snow on the top of Kilimanjaro?
Always.
Always?
Always.
Always wanted to know that.
Well, Safari's a goodie or something like that. Thank you, Mrs. Bruce. Very nice to have had you with What's My Life. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment. But first, here is a word from our sponsor. We come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel is usually blindfolded. Tonight we have Johnny Carson on it, and he can't get his blindfold on, but now he has got his blindfold on, and Johnny Carson is blindfolded, and the panel is all blindfolded, and the blindfolds are all ready, are they, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we use a different form of questioning, question at a time in turn, moving clockwise. And let's begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you best known for your work in the movies?
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Are you a big Broadway star? I heard
Well,
a
let
whale.
me answer that, if I may, Bennett. I would say here, yes. Miss Francis.
Are you also known for your work in television?
Mr. Carson? That was a yes.
Yes, sir.
Are you currently engaged in a play that is on Broadway?
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever made any records of popular songs?
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Are you possibly a winner of one of the recent awards given by the Emmy Committee? Yes?
Yes. Miss Francis?
A lady, let's see. Julie Harris. Are you Shirley Booth?
Shirley Booth, indeed. Bennett unlocked the door, and that was... I knew as soon as Bennett asked the question about the Emmys, Miss Shirley, that we were
I did a little
undone.
better this time than I did last time. You remember last time, Dorothy? You guessed it the second time.
I think so.
Won an Emmy Award, and I don't think anything brought more joy to the whole family of radio and television than the fact that Miss Shirley did won an Emmy for her great program, Hazel, which is on another network, the initials to which we can't say,
Clubbing
NBC on Thursday night. Right?
I know our family is very happy about it.
Oh, I bet they
The
are.
family I work for.
Yes. I must say, I feel that we have known each other ever since I first had any association with radio
When
or
I
television.
used to be Miss Duffy.
When you were Miss Duffy, and it
Yes.
was a lot of fun. Actually, I know another secret. You know, Franklin Heller, who was our director, you know him
Yes.
very well. I know that when you were playing my sister Arlene, Frank was stage manager,
Yes,
wasn't
Frank was stage
Yes.
manager. We were together for 2 years.
he? For 2
And
long
now he's a lot heavier and a lot more important.
years. Did you say he was a lot... What did you say he was besides being a lot more important?
A lot bigger.
A lot bigger, yes. I think he is a bit bigger, isn't he? Well, we'll
Miss
have
Booth,
to...
was your first big hit in New York and Bill Inge's Come Back Little Sheba, wasn't it?
Yes,
Was that big
yes,
time?
it was, and it's
I think that one of the most
it is and
memorable
always
nights
will
in-
be my favorite part.
One of the great
I love
nights in
doing it.
American theater.
Shirley,
You provided.
would you please ask him to write another one for you so that we'll get you back on Broadway as well as in our homes every week?
Well, I certainly would like to do that, but I haven't been reading any plays because I'm committed to a certain time, and I feel that I
too
don't want
much.
to be disgruntled about what I'm doing. You know, so I don't read plays. I just go in. And Arlene, may I tell you right now publicly how beautiful you were in 1, 2, 3.
Oh, thank you.
Just
sure.
a beautiful performance. I just loved every
Real
minute.
praise.
And Miss Shirley, may I say to you that you do us much honor when you grace us on this Sunday night.
Thank you. I'm very
Thanks
glad
a
to
lot
be with
for
you again.
coming
I
to
hope
see
I
us.
make more distance next time.
We'll find a way to pull it. And we'll be back after this word from our alternate sponsor,
When you have
New York. Again, Johnny Carson, it's a joy always to have you with us.
Thank
Hope
you,
you'll
John.
be back real soon, and good night, Miss Arlene Francis.
Good night, John. Good night, Johnny. Come back soon.
Thank you. Good night, Arlene. Good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Johnny. Good night, Bennett.
We're in luck tonight. We have no time for John to sing his Tilton High School song. Good night, John.
You know, he shouldn't do that because I might just find the time to sing my Tilton School song. But he's right, I haven't got time. I have time only to say thanks very much for being with us on What's My Line?
It's fun and it's free. You only have to register once to vote.